senior editor of Ohio Magazine, along with art director Leslie Blake. And we are at the Kent State University Museum for the preview of Katharine Hepburn, Dressed for Stage and Screen, an exquisite collection of more than 700 pieces from the actress's personal and professional wardrobes. The clothes range from designer gowns and denim shirts to lingerie, hair pieces, and makeup, which the museum has recently acquired. And we are here with Jean Drusidow, museum director, who has kindly offered to take us on a tour of the collection. Thank you so much, Jean, for being here.
Welcome.
Now, Jean, the story of how the museum acquired this collection really is a wonderful example of how persistence can pay off. Will you share that journey with us?
Well, it was very interesting because one day, out of the blue, I got a letter from the woman that was the first director of the fashion school when it was started here at Kent in 1982. And Gladys Toulis said, you know, Jean, if you're interested in having Katharine Hepburn's wardrobe, you should write to her executors. And she gave me the name. And so I said to the staff, what do you think about this? And there was, great excitement. And so I wrote right away to the executors, and then I didn't hear anything for quite some time. And then I got another letter from Gladys that said, you should write again. So I wrote again, and I sent some information about the museum, and then I got an email back. And at that point, they were really trying to place the collection in an educational institution. That had been Miss Hepburn's intention, and the reason that the things were not sold at the large Sotheby's sale of her other personal effects. So I began discussions with the executors, and I went to New York and spoke with them, and then I went to Connecticut to the warehouse to look at all of the things, and then I made my list of what I would like, and time passed. What's happening here? But it takes a long time for estates to be settled. And so finally the word came that the lawyers were meeting, and would I join them? So I went into New York, and I met all the lawyers and explained what the museum was and what we would hope to do with the collection. And they agreed. And not only did they agree, but then Cynthia McFadden, one of the executors, said, look, take everything. Don't worry about your list. Just take everything, and if it's not something you can use in the collection, you can sell it, and then that still will benefit the museum. That must be
quite a moment for you when you heard those words.
So I was really astounded, and I said, well, that makes it possible to take everything, because I couldn't have justified taking every single pair of beige slacks.
That's right. And you said she had a lot of them.
There were 31 pairs.
All tailor-made for her.
Yes, yes. Well, some of them were ready-made, but they were, pretty much her size, let's put it that way. We managed to identify about 114 pieces with specific films.
And quite an ordeal going through those films in some cases.
Oh, yes, just a tremendous amount of time. And you never know what's ended up on the cutting room floor. When you see the still, then, is it in the film or is it not in the film? And so it took a long time, and we're still doing it. That's why only a few of the pieces are actually in the exhibition. I think there are 50 pieces in the exhibition out of quite a number of pieces that are still unidentified.
Will you eventually incorporate some of those pieces into the exhibition?
Well, into various incarnations of the exhibition.
This will probably tour the world after it's here.
We're hoping that this tours. And as we discover more things, we can add more things, and we can expand on the things that we have.
It's amazing to me as I look at those pieces that whenever I think of Katharine Hepburn, I think of her in slacks and a white shirt. And I know she was in other things, but this really shows the gamut of her, not only her talents, but also her wardrobe.
Well, these things were her performance clothes. So these were not things that she had made or wore socially. These are the things that she wore in films and on the stage. And that's really significant, because a costume, a performance costume, really has meaning only in the context of its performance. And so you look at some of these dresses, like the Calla Lily dress from Stage Door, for example, and you can't imagine Katharine Hepburn necessarily wearing that in her everyday life, because, as you say, our image of her is beige slacks and white shirt. Well, she didn't wear that dress in her everyday life. That's very specific to that character in that film. And so that's one of the reasons that in the exhibition we have a lot of stills and we have the banners with her image on them, wearing the costume.
And that's a wonderful context for people to see that.
You have to have the context, because otherwise the stage clothes don't have any real meaning.
That's true. Do you have some favorite pieces of yours? The calla lily dress?
Oh, I love the calla lily
Okay.
dress. I think the calla lily dress is just marvelous. Yeah.
Are there a couple others that you really like? I know you've probably seen somebody, and they're probably like all your children now.
Well, they are, and you can't take a favorite one. I think the astonishing size of the Adam's rib dress and the little minister costume, that's when she had that 20-inch waist, and that's pretty astounding. You can think of her as being 5'7½", and having a 20-inch waist, and you know why she wore those clothes so very well
Absolutely.
on film.
Absolutely. And of course, this acquisition, the museum already is renowned, but this acquisition will really spread the word around the globe about the Kent State University Museum.
And a collection needs to be exhibited beyond its doors. And so I'm very hopeful that this exhibition will tour.
Absolutely, and you've got a great event planned tonight with Robert Osborne, host of Turner Classic Movies, and the legendary actress Ann Rutherford, who, of course, is best known for her role as Corrine O'Hara, Scarlett's younger sister, but also the comedic touch in the Andy Hardy movies. And they actually thought enough of coming here to see the exhibition and signing autographs for folks. So
Yes, they are so gracious. They are just very, very gracious.
Well, thank you so much, Jean, for joining us on this busy day and night, and continued success to you on this marvelous museum.
Well, thanks so much.
It's my great pleasure to be here with Mr. Robert Osborne, host of Turner Classic Movies, who is in Kent, Ohio this weekend at Kent State University for the opening gala of the Katharine Hepburn exhibit. Thank you so much for being here.
It's my pleasure. It's such a beautiful exhibit, too.
It truly is.
Yes.
Now, I understand you are quite a Katharine Hepburn fan.
Well, I am. I think almost everybody is.
Absolutely.
I mean, but I admire her work. I admire her persona that she had, and her ethics that she had, and her determination, and her survival instincts, and all of that.
And she truly had an amazing charisma with the camera, wouldn't you say?
She did. She did. She was a very charismatic person, a fascinating person, and I think she worked at that. Yeah, but it worked very well for her.
Absolutely. Now, did you have a chance to preview the exhibit?
Yes, I did.
Okay,
And
what do you
really,
think?
It's really exceptional. Recently I was in London and saw a wonderful exhibit they had of Grace Kelly's clothes that I thought was about the best thing I'd ever seen. I think this is even better.
Oh, that's wonderful. What a great
Yeah,
compliment.
the clothes are in wonderful condition, and they've been displayed beautifully, and they have wonderful descriptions of them in there, and also a lot of posters around
Yes.
from her career. And
It really marries what the film is. with
shots
the
of her
costume.
in the costumes
Yes.
that she wore.
Which is
It's
great.
amazing to think how small she was,
Oh,
how
I know.
small her waist was.
I know it. And also, so many think of her in slacks, and here it's a whole other dimension with her in the wonderful
Right,
clothes she had.
right.
Absolutely.
But they have a lot of her slacks.
They do.
there,
They
too.
do, and she's tiny in those, too.
And not one pair, but a lot of pairs.
That's right.
She just, I think that's what's so interesting about her, is that she found a wardrobe that she liked in real life, and she just duplicated and had a lot of different copies of that same thing made. Same shoes, same
There's something
pants.
smart about that.
Yeah.
You know, when you find
Well,
something good, you stick with
As she
it.
always said, she got up in the morning, she didn't have to worry about her clothes. She knew what she was going to wear because she had a lot of outfits in the same design.
That's a great tip.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite Katharine Hepburn movie of all time?
I have kind of three, but they're from three different periods
Okay.
because, we knew Katharine Hepburn for so many years through the movies. The young Katharine Hepburn,
Yes.
the middle-aged, and the older Katharine Hepburn. And in the young Katharine Hepburn, I love the movie Alice Adams
Okay.
that she made in 1935. I think she's heartbreaking in it. It's a wonderful story by Booth Tarkington. She's in it with Fred McMurray and Hattie McDaniel and wonderful people, and she's just vulnerable and dear and honest, and I think she's just exceptional. Then I would say kind of the middle Katharine Hepburn would be Summertime.
Okay.
I love that movie, filmed in Venice, David Lean directing, and she again is exceptional in it, and it's the older woman and heartbreaking and brave and interesting, playing a unmarried woman who goes to Rome and falls in love, has a romance, and it kind of brought out all the sides of Katharine Hepburn that we think of her in real life as well. And then the older Katharine Hepburn, I would certainly say that my favorite would probably be I Love the Lion in Winter.
Oh,
I think
yes.
she's great in that, courageous and strong. But there's so many great Katharine Hepburns.
There are.
Those would be my three favorites.
Okay. Well, thank you for spending
Thank
time
you.
with us today, for being
Thank
in
you for
Kent,
asking.
and have a
Well,
wonderful
listen,
time at the gala.
I love it, and I also think everybody is so lucky in this whole area to have a museum like this. We'll be celebrating 25 years.
That's right.
And have these wonderful displays and things like that to come to. And also in downtown Cleveland, that they've saved those theaters like the State, the Palace.
Did you? And I
the
saw
Ohio.
yesterday
Yes,
you were
it was
downtown.
just, I mean, to see those movie palaces,
Yes.
like people used to pay and go into these beautiful places, like stepping into another world to see these movies that we don't have anymore.
That's true, and that's an
And these
amazing story in itself
multiplexes.
on how
But
those
to
were
have
saved.
those and have them saved and still be using them is
Absolutely.
wonderful.
Well, I hope you come back and see some Broadway there.
I would like to do that.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you so much.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Okay.